Hello guys, let's start with our module 7, select queries, the core of SQL. Let's start with the first video of the module, select statement basics. So in this particular module, in a high profile view, we're going to study about everything on select queries, okay, and its variation and etc. And going with the first video, the topic select statement. So we are going to learn in this particular video about how a select statement works and what is select statement, okay. So let's start with it. So let's start by understanding what is select. If you have seen all the previous chapters or videos, you might have seen that I am using select statements multiple times, right? The select command, you can say the select command, right? So what is it actually? Okay, let's try to figure that out first. It is used to retrieve data from database. Okay, it does not modify the data. It is a part of DQL. You could call it a DQL, meaning data query language. Fine. So select statement, from the word you can identify that we're selecting something. We're not modifying it, we're not updating it, we're not touching anything other than selecting it. Okay. So this particular helps in retrieving the data directly from the database. As we have seen previously, I used to write select star from the table name, right? So this helps in just retrieving the data and nothing else. And it comes under the part of data query language, which usually people does not discuss because they are more focused on DDL, TCL, DML, which we have earlier, discussed in our previous chapters when we were learning about the complete theory. Okay. So let's start with the syntax now. This is it. This is all about select statement in a whole. So let's start with the syntax first. Okay. Syntax. Syntax goes like select uh, star from table name. Okay. This is a basic one. This is the simplest one. I would call it as basic syntax. Basic syntax. Then there is another type. Select column 1, column 2, and except multiple columns. Okay. From table name. It comes out to be a selective selection. Okay. Now you can let me do one thing. Let me drop the previous tables first. Drop, suppose employees, comma departments, comma students. Okay, sorry, I forgot to write one thing here. Drop table use company DB, as the error shows that I have not selected the database, which I always do. I forgot to select it. Okay, now all the tables are done. So I will just clear this out. Great. Now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to write some queries or paste some queries here. Okay, so I've pasted these queries here. So first query is creating a table having employee ID, name, department, salary, and join date. Okay, basic one. Click here now. Table got created. I will refresh this. Employees table is ready. Now we'll import this data or insert this data there, which is also done. Sorry, my bad. Okay, okay, it's added here. So if I can just see the columns name, everything is present. Great. Now what I'm going to do, as I gave the syntax earlier, right? I will just copy this only. The syntax, paste it here. What is the table name? Employees. Look, it will fetch the data. That's it. That's all about the select statement. It just retrieves the data from the database. Okay. Now, when do we use select star employees? Okay. If I go with the best practice for using this particular syntax, or is used for mostly for quick debugging if we have to do anything, right? Then secondly, it comes for exploring table, right? We should avoid using using it in production because it will result in performance issue. Okay, that's why. Now there is another type, right? This one. Let's go with this now. We'll remove this. So what are the columns? I want to check the employee ID, suppose. Okay, I want to know the name of the people and I want to know their salary. That's it. Okay, we'll write the column names and here I will write the table name, which is employees. I think something is wrong here. Employees. Yeah. Command enter or control enter. Look, I got employee ID, name, and salary. We'll get only selective columns from here now, right? And this is much more efficient and much more, easier and make sense when you don't want to look for everything. Okay, rather have to focus only on required columns. So here I will write always select only required columns because at the end if you go and write all the column names then what is the use, right? Then you can just put this select star there itself to get all the column names with all the data, correct? Okay, I want to give you an understanding of uh, one of the command or queries I could say, right? It is distinct. Okay, this is another command in SQL. Distinct, distinct command. Now this particular command is mostly used with select statement only. Okay, always used with select statement or select query I would say in select statement. Okay, now from the word you can just identify distinct. So of course this particular command is going to help us get the distinct values. Okay, so distinct help us to get the distinct value itself, values itself. Okay, so you should be knowing about this particular command because this this is very important and very much used command here. Now if you can see, do I have any repetitive data here? No, right? So what I'm going to do here now is that wait, look, we have this IT two times, HR, finance multiple times, right? Now if I just come here and write select, suppose what was it? Department, right? Select department from employees, right? So I can see there are multiple departments, right? Distinct command use syntax. Now you might be wondering why don't I have any different or another lecture on it, because it's not required, because distinct is comes with select statement and you have to use it with select statement whenever it is required. Fine, but this distinct command is also used with some aggregation functions or group by functions, and that's a different scenario. In that particular video I will cover much more about distinct in much more depth, but currently when we are in select, distinct is used, so I thought of putting it here. Okay, so that you have the idea of it. So let me give the syntax also. Syntax is very easy. It's distinct, sorry, select. Now you have, before writing, but you should be knowing what you want distinct, right? You just cannot randomly put everything as distinct. So I want the department to be distinct, right? So select distinct column name. At once only one column name can be entered here from table name. Got it? So this we saw here. Now what I'm going to do, we just write distinct here. Now because I just want to know the departments, right? I don't want to know how many rows are there, how many times IT is used, etc. I can see IT is used 3 times, but it is one time only, right, in the department section. So I just want it one time. So when I run this query again, look, I'm getting distinct values: IT, HR, and finance. I think that clears the doubt here, right? This helps in removing the duplicates basically. Okay, so now we're done with everything regarding the SQL command. Now let's take up some more understanding here. So it starts with basically, so usually what happens, other instructors just teach you about select statement and they close everything, right? But I'm going to give you some more knowledge on select statement here. So more on select statement. Okay, starting with select with arithmetic expression. If I just give you something like select, okay, the name, the salary, okay, and if I just write it this way, um, okay, then from employees, okay, do you think this is a correct query? The people who knows, they knows, who don't know, they don't know, they're gonna learn today. So is it a correct query? Let's see by running it. Okay, it ran, but why? Just keep the thing in focus here. The column name has been changed to salary plus 5,000 here. Okay, and if you come back here and if I just run this particular query, you can see my salary, her salary is 60,000, but here it's 65,000. Why? Because I added the 5,000 here. This is an arithmetic way of doing. Okay, so you should be knowing all these things. Like this was only addition. You can do the multiplication. Let me write it here. Multiplication can be done. Okay, plus can be done. Subtraction could be done. Then it just gave division can be done. Okay, this all the things could be done. Now let's go with selecting select statement without table. Now what we were doing from the beginning is that we were writing select star from table name, correct? What if we don't want to use the table name? What are you gonna do? And I'm saying that I want you to do a multiplication of this. Okay, look what you got. We got 6. Why? Because select statement. What is the base of select statement or the select command? It says that I am going to retrieve everything which you are going to give me. Right? Anything you write after the select keyword is basically pulling it from the database. We're writing in the database or in the environment of it, right? So it's just doing what it's doing the calculation and retrieving the data and giving it to you. Like 2 into 3 is the value for it, which it retrieves and give us back. Okay. So why this is used for? Why it is used for testing expressions. If there is any expression I want to test before making it finalize, or to learn SQL behavior. Okay, there could be something, some calculations which might give results in different in calculator, or sometimes it can give different in SQL, right? So you want to just verify the particular thing. That's why it's done here. Now, if you might have any confusion on, let's go with the third one, case sensitivity. Sensitivity. Okay, you might be thinking that if I write select name small case from employees, or if I write select name from employees, the top one might run and the below might not run, right? First one is running, but the second one is also running because it's totally depends. Reason, I will just give the reason. The reason behind this is that SQL keywords not case sensitive. That means even if I write something like this, select name from employees, this is also going to run correctly, right? But that's not the way you write SQL. There's a format you should be following, which is this, okay, which I have explained very clearly and very in depth in my previous chapter when we were learning about the beginner theory of SQL, right? From there you can understand this particular thing. And also data inside table, that also depends on the DB, okay, whether it is case sensitive or not. Okay, so I hope you understood this particular thing now. So let's move ahead and try to understand more on SQLs. Suppose selecting constant values, and this comes under suppose multiple selection of column. Okay, when you don't use star, you use the names of the columns, right? Suppose if I'm going like select name, okay, and I want status as active everywhere. I want it to be constant. Okay, uh, from employee. Okay, let's see what happens now. It worked. Look, we could have renamed this to a particular column, which we will study in the next chapter, which I'm not doing it currently. That's why it's active currently, the column name, but it will be changed. But now you can see that everything here is active, right? So we are what we are doing, we're selecting a particular column from the table, and then we are adding another column from our end, which is going to be constant throughout. Okay, so this is an important thing which you can do. This comes under basically selecting multiple columns. Okay, specified columns, I would say. But this is used, let me write it the reason also. This uh, this is used to adding labels or flags, okay, in real world. Now let's go and understand one more thing here. Suppose selecting the name, okay, we know that selecting the salary, adding suppose 10,000 to everyone's salary, okay, and then I want a constant value now. Okay, let me give the heading here. This comes for mixing column plus uh, arithmetic, I would say, plus suppose constant. Okay, so I will just write here mm, India, oh no, let me write it here as suppose let me write a country only here, India. Okay, from employees. You could see here we're using all of these three things all together within the select command. In- right? I just written here India. We can write here as USA, or suppose uh, UK. Okay, so we can add. We can keep on adding this particular thing, right? But this what will have the disadvantage of this particular thing is that it will remain constant throughout, right? And here, okay, this will also remain constant because you're adding 10,000 to each. So this is how a real world scenario will look like. Okay, and what if you do like something duplicate columns, right? Duplicate columns. Suppose select name, comma name from employees. What is going to happen? Let's see. There is no error thrown. Why? Because it's just retrieving the data, right? It's not doing anything else. Now this was all about more on SQL commands here. Like this, these are some extra things you should be knowing along with these important syntaxes. Coming back, and let's try to understand the common mistakes. Okay, first let's start with the mistakes done by the normal query. Okay, I will type those things out here. It goes like select from table name. What is the mistake here? Missing columns or the star symbol, right? Either you give the column names there or you give the star symbol, right? You have to give something, otherwise it will throw an error. Second, select star from wrong table name, right? This could be the issue. Wrong table. Suppose employee instead of employees over using of star, because performance down and security concern. Got it? Now this were the some of the common mistakes from the select star table. Okay. Now some common mistakes from when you have multiple columns selected. Suppose like select specified columns, right? Select name, or suppose column 1, column 2 from table name, forgetting the commas here after each column name. Okay. Secondly, writing wrong column name itself. That's a generic mistake, but yeah, let's consider that. Select suppose like this, name or name or name. Okay, from table name. This comes out to be case misunderstanding, but works in multiple DBs until and unless it is specified. Okay, until and unless it is specifically specified in the DB. Okay, this form basic syntax. Got it? So this is all about select statement basics, and I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is column aliases and expressions. So in this particular topic, we are going to understand how an aliases works in SQL, and the expressions, the complete expressions along with the aliases, how it is, how they work around all together. Okay. So let's start and understand this particular topic now. So first question is, what is aliases? Okay, what is it? Or alias? What is alias? Okay, it is a temporary name given to a column or an expression. Okay, and also it is always, or it is not always, it is used with SQL statement. Okay, understand this in a particular way. We have RAM and ROM, or we have permanent memory and temporary memories. RAM comes under a temporary memory concept, right? So till the time the thing is running continuously, the system is on, RAM uses the system uses the RAM to store the data temporarily. As soon as the systems goes down and everything goes down, the RAM also goes down, and everything which was on the RAM also goes down, and nothing is saved, right? But in the temporary memory, even if the system goes down or system start, whatever it is, right, it keeps this data steady there, right? Why? Because it's the work of doing it, right? Similarly, aliases also works the same way. Aliases is used with the select statement, and select statement is this alias work as the same as RAM. If you run the select statement, it will have that expression or the things, and it will give the alias to the particular column or whatever it is, and give you the display output. It is not a temporary solution to a particular thing. Okay, so let's get back to our MySQL workbench and try to understand what I'm trying to say here. So alias syntax, it goes like select column names, whatever column names you need, as a column name. It goes with each individual column. Okay, as alias, as the word which we are writing as here, right? That's the particular syntax or the command here for the alias. Then we write here alias name from table name. Got it? Great. Let me give you an example now. Select, first let me check what are the details in the table is. Employees, okay. So we have this data here, right? But I don't want it to be a name, right? So what I want it to be a employee name. So what I'm going to do, select name, the name column, I'm selecting it and I'm giving the alias as employee name from employees table, right? Let's see what happens now. Look, the name was only selected and as employee name got modified to this, right? Also, let me give you one more example to just differentiate about the thing concept of RAM which I explained you earlier. Look what I'm doing here. I'm selecting everything, select star, comma. Look, if you are getting confused why it is this way, look, if you write all the column names, column 1, comma, column 2, column 3, right, write this, right? But you want a particular column to be named aliased, okay? So what is the concept is that you want everything, right? Every column. So select star, we know that, comma, name. Then if I give the alias, it will display all the column names from previously. Look, oh wait, what I just did. Wait, let me run this again. I did some mistake here. Okay, let me run it again. Okay, look, everything is present here. At the end, it's employee name, right? So that's how it works. So I hope you're getting this idea here. Okay, so let me copy this and let me put it here also. Select star, column name as alias name from the table name. This also comes out to be a syntax too. Okay, syntax 2. This syntax is basically used when you are doing some expression calculation, arithmetic and such. Okay, that we'll see going forward. Now without the alias keyword, okay, without alias keyword, okay, so let's see what happens. Select name, employee name from employees table. Okay, let's see what happens. It worked, right? It's worked the same way, but it's not a good practice. Not a good practice. So never do this. It's not a good practice. People might get confused. People might read it as two particular columns. Okay, they might be thinking, "Man, we forgot to give the comma here." That this kind of scenarios might occur, right? So it's not good. It's not a good practice. Does not provide clarity. Got it? Okay, so here we have understood the syntax, two types of syntax of alias, how it's worked, and without alias, how it goes, right? We just saw this exception case. Let me just put a star mark here, so that's an important one. Okay, so now let's go and understand the more on alias. Okay, let's go and understand more on alias. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Let me just give this. If you want to give multiple aliases, how you gonna do that? Okay, so let me give you the scenario here. Select, okay, name as employee name. I want it this way. I want the department, and you can see, right, the structure of the code I am following. Please follow this kind of structure to be a great one. Okay, department, the salary as monthly salary, right, from employees department. Now, let me just give the syntax here. I think it's not required though, but okay, let me just select column name as alias name, comma, again from table name. Okay, so this is how you give multiple ones, column names. Okay, I will run. Okay, I think I might have done some mistake here. You don't want a comma at the end. Please keep that in mind. I will run this. Control Enter. Look, everything is changed. Department, monthly salary, everything is changed, right? Great. Now coming to the Coming to second one, aliases with spaces. What does that mean? Now look, select, suppose I go with this way, select name as employee name from employees. It is throwing an error. It's saying that what's happening is basically that it's saying that select name as employee. Okay, fine, that's correct. But and again, you have written one more column name and you have not provided a comma here. This it considers this as two separate columns. Okay, it is if you want to understand more, it's like select when you are selecting multiple columns. If you remember, one of the mistakes people do, name, employee ID, right? So this is what it's happening currently, right? That's why it's throwing an error. Now, as soon as I give a comma here, look, error has gone, right? So you're not supposed to do that in that particular scenario. What you're supposed to do, select resolution, select name as, you have to write it in a inverted comma, employee name from employees table. Okay, look, it worked, right? It worked greatly. Let's extend this now. Look, employee name. Alias has spaces. Okay, so when to use quotes? Okay, let me tell you this also now. When to use quotes? When alias has spaces. Secondly, alias has any special character. Got it? Now let's come and understand. Third one, aliases with calculations or arithmetics. Suppose I'm going to, let me just do one thing. Oh, let me continue. Okay. Select name. Great. Okay. Then I want the salary of the employees. Great. But now what I want salary plus the 10,000. Okay. Then I want salary into 1.10. This is the increment. Okay. Let's take it as an increment from employees table. You remember in our previous chapter when we were studying about the select statement, I was just writing it directly. I was showing you how different ways in how a select works. So in that case, what was the issue was, look, it was showing the column name as this, right? And now you have the idea that how we can resolve this as bonus by adding the alias bonus salary as incremented salary. Got it? Now if I run this, look, looks so nice now, right? So this is how a structure goes on SQL, right? First we understood the select statement and we got this and we got the flow that, so look, we don't have the column names properly now. Now we have the column names properly by using the alias. So this is how alias helps a lot by giving a temporary name. Okay, and this is a real world reporting query. Let me write it down here. This is a real world reporting query. Okay, if you can recall, we have also learned about constants. Okay, if you cannot just, if I give an example, you might recall it. Aliases for constants. So, suppose select name, okay, comma, active from employees table. Remember now, we were doing this and we were getting all of this as active, and name, right? But it's not good. It has to be some name there. So I'm using alias here again, status. Look, now it looks good, right? Now you can understand. It also makes sense now that, okay, it's just status which is active. Got it? Now let's look at some kind of an advanced aliases, okay, for the tables. Okay, this comes out to be a very important one. Look, select. Let me write the first thing, right? E name, comma, e dot salary from employees E. Now you might be thinking why we are using alias uh, when we know that we are selecting from the employees table, correct? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Let me give you another query from e dot name, e dot department name from employees E, comma departments D. Now you might be thinking it is making sense now. Helps you when you have multiple tables for join or union scenarios. Okay, in this kind of scenarios you need multiple tables. So if you have multiple tables, you're not going to go and write again and again like employees dot name, employees dot department, employees dot that, employees dot this, right? It is a headache, right? So that is why you have to do this way. Let me run this query first, the one. Look, and here you might be saying why you are not using alias query command, because this is for the sorter query. But if I want, I can just put alias here again, and I can run it again. Okay, so you can use alias or you cannot use. If you don't want to use, don't use alias in this particular scenario, because it's a good practice and it's a sorter query. Okay, so let me give you the syntax also. uh, E column 1, suppose D dot column 1 E, comma table 2 as D, table 1 as this. Okay, whatever it is. So if you're going for joins, I'm not giving the example of join here currently, but if you people know about joins, how join query is written, and if you haven't known about how alias is used there, so this will help you out. Okay, so this were like more on SQL aliases. Now let's go and try to figure out more ways. Look, these are the things you should be knowing. If you are saying that I don't want to learn this extra things, look, everyone knows the basic concepts, but they don't know how to implement them and where to implement those, right? And not all teachers explains this kind of scenarios everywhere. So let's start now with so let's move ahead with one more thing. This was number 4. Go with let's 5. You cannot use alias in same select. Okay, meaning suppose select salary into 12 as annual salary. There is nothing wrong here, correct? But annual salary plus 1000 from employees. Okay, let's see if it works or not. It is throwing an error because if you remember, SQL execution order, how an execution happens in a SQL, which we learn in the beginners topics. First comes the from, then comes the select statement. Fine. An alias has not been created yet because the alias is after the select statement. If you remember, it goes like from, where, group by, having, then select statement, and after the select statement you get the alias. Okay, then the alias are specified. But here if you can see, salary 12 as annual salary and annual salary plus 1000. So from employees, what will happen? It will come here. It will do this. It will select everything. Right? It will see that wait, alias is not created yet, so it will throw an error. So if I just that's the word unknown annual salary is a unknown field. So for the resolution of that is the correct way is select salary 12 as annual salary from employees Okay, so this is the correct way. Everyone knows that now. Now everyone knows about it. But if you want to add more on it, if if you want to add more on it, you have to go with advanced query such as subquery concept, which we have not learned yet. Okay, so this is all about more on aliases. Coming back to our slides, now let's try to figure out common mistakes. Okay, so I will type it out. Comes first one comes to be missing quotes for spaces. Now you already know this how to resolve. Example is like selecting the column as employee name. Okay, error using alias in same select as you just saw. Let me go back and copy this, paste it here, right? It will give an error. Third, suppose before writing that, I just want to give you an example here. Suppose select select name as salary from employees. Look, it gave me the output, but this will lead to a misleading situation because you already have a salary column which has the actual salary, right? So we'll just put it here and we'll write here confusing column versus alias. Okay, results to a uh, misleading output. Okay, so if you come back here, we have covered both the column aliases and column aliases with expressions. Okay, so this is all about column aliases and expressions, and I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is filtering data using where clause. So in this particular chapter, we are going to understand the where clause, which is like every query in SQL almost uses the where clause. It is very important you should understand this particular concept and how and in what ways this where clause has been used in SQL, so that you can do the filtering of data, substituting of data and everything. So let's start with it. Let's start by understanding what is where. Okay, where is used to filter rows or records. Fine, that's it. This is the basic and the most direct definition of where clause. What it is for? It is used for filtering. Okay, so we will just directly jump into the practical implementation of where rather than going into the theory of understanding it, which is actually nothing now. But let's move ahead. Okay, so where clause syntax starts by select column 1, column 2, and so on. Okay, or select star, whatever, right? From table name where and then the condition. So this condition is the main thing to filter data. Main thing or main logic, I would say. Main logic to filter data. Okay. Don't worry, it is not so much of a thing like I've used the word logic, right? It's not big logics. Okay. So if I continue writing, it means that only rows that satisfy the condition are returned. Okay, make sense? Great. Now let's try. Suppose first let me just do a select statement. Select star from employees. Okay, use company DB. I forgot to do this all the time. Okay, now I'll clear this out. We'll run this. Look, I can see the data here, right? Now what I'm going to do, I want to look at the name and the salary of the people. Okay. Uh, want to check the name and the salary of a person where sorry, person having salary greater than 50K. Okay, so I will do like select column 1 name, column 2 salary from employees table, right? Where now till here we understand. Now what will be the condition? Condition will be salary greater than 50,000. Okay, look, after running it, I can see only rows. Before it was I think 6 of 5, right? Now it's 3 who are having salaries greater than 50,000. Now about the conditions, okay, the conditions which I'm going to use here, those are comparison operators, logical operators, and in between, in and not, null, etc. Okay, so these are the things, clauses or commands which are used with where clause to fulfill a condition or to make a condition. Okay, so right now we are trying to focus on in this particular chapter on the where clause only. Okay, so don't worry about the conditions right now. Just focus on the where clause. Now we know what is the execution order of the where clause. What comes the first? From comes first, right? Then comes what? From comes first. Then comes the where clause. Like we do the condition, right? And after that we get the select statement. So everyone remember this, right? So that means that filtering happens before selecting the columns. If you select the columns, then you do the filtering. That does not make sense, right? At, at anywhere also, you will just first filter everything, then you will put it in a box, and then you will give it to the end consumer, right? So it works the same way. Now let's see the condition where we don't want any logical operators, comparison operators, and etc. Okay, so let's go with. I will just copy this. It will be easier for us. What I do? Okay, I will just copy this, and we want name and salary. Okay, or I will do what? I will just remove this select star from employees. Okay, where the department I want to get the every details whoever belong to the IT department. Okay, control enter. Look, only these three people are in IT. Harsh, Neha, Karan. You can see the departments and the date and everything, right? Now suppose this is done, right? IT department. Now I want to look with the name. Okay, so how I'm going to do is that is basically I'll copy this again, paste it, name, let it be Harsh. Look here, it's capital H, it is a small h. Then also it will result because it is not case sensitive. Fine. Now let's get back here. Let's take this example again, copy this, and we'll just give a heading here, like this is done, right? Till now we understood these basic things of the where clause. Now look about the condition area. This you can do more clearly when you understand logical operators, comparison operators, and such things, which we'll learn in the next videos. And so before doing that, we should know what is where clause, right? So that is why I put the where clause here. So I will try to put on less things where the more of those operators are used. Okay. So let's start with the more on where clause. More on where clause. Okay. So from the previously I copied this query, right? Now what I am trying to do here, if you remember, salary into 12 using alias, okay, as annual salary, I have created an alias here. Okay. So I'm adding here where clause, where with alias. Okay. And this is done from this. Now what I am going to do, copy this, paste it here. Okay. So according to you, what happens? Look, if you are smart enough, you can figure out the issue here, right? I will try running this. It is saying annual salary in where clause is unknown. Yes, what was the execution order of SQL? We just wrote it here, right? From where then select. So how can you use the select statement alias before using the before no before using the select with where, correct? So this will throw an error. So what you have to do, you just have to put it here and just have to copy this and paste it here and run it. Now it will give you the correct result. Got it? Okay. So this was all about the where clause in SQL. I know it seems less, the information seems less, but it's not that way. Actually, there are more things like other operators and things which are joined together to make up the condition. In those videos, you're gonna learn more about the where clause. Okay. So this is all about filtering data using where, and I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is comparison operators. So as I was discussing about the types of operators which we used with where clause to make a condition, a proper condition. So this is one of them, right? So this is one of the comparison operators. Then comes the logical, then comes in between and all those things. So let's start with the comparison operators here first. Okay. So we'll just write here used inside where to compare values. Of course, from the name you can guess if it is a comparison operator, it is going to compare something using in the where clause. Okay. And you should also know about what they return. They return first true or false. Okay, they either return true or they return false as an answer when we are using comparison operators only. Okay, now list of operators. So this is important, we should know about this, right? So we'll just type it out. Operator, oh, wait a second, operator, then comes the meaning or use case, whatever you can, whatever makes sense, fine. So first operator is this equal sign, then comes the meaning of it. So meaning is nothing, equal to, that's it. If you write this particular expression or this, it means that not equal to. If you have seen, the left hand side operator is mostly we use in C++, Python, Java, that kind of programming languages. But the right one, this one, seems something new, right? This is basically a SQL one. Okay, you can use both. This means greater than. This means smaller than, greater than or equals to. This means greater than or equal to. Either it is greater than 10 or equals to 10. Okay. This also goes opposite. Smaller than or equal to, meaning again the same. Either it is 10 or it is less than 10. So these are the important list of operators you should be knowing. And these are not tough, I guess, right? If you have the experience of programming languages, then it is very easy for you. But if you don't have the experience of programming languages, please go through it. It's very easy. There are only 6 operators I can see here. Okay. So let's come back here. Okay. And now let's learn the syntaxes. Comparison operator syntax. Okay. So there is no syntax as such. What I can do is that I can just write select star from table name where, okay, equal to or not equal to or this or greater than, less than, greater than equals to, less than equals to. Okay, this is the condition. Yeah. Got it. So this is the syntax basically. So let's start by going with the first one, which is equal operator. Okay, so select star from table name employees. It will throw an error. Just let me use this first. Use company DB. Okay, it's already selected, right? Okay, where department is equals to IT. So I'm only going to get the results of the departments which have IT in it. If you see the complete table, look, there are 5 rows, right? So that's it. I have got the point now. Let's go with the second one now. Um, which is basically or this not equal to, right? So select star from employees. Wait a second. Just copy this. Now I want to check. I don't want the I don't want the result which are having IT in it. So I will get all the results or the departments rows which don't have IT in it. Okay, look, fine. Now let's go with the third one. This is greater than. Okay, we'll just copy this, paste. Where salary is greater than. I want to look at the salaries which are greater than 50,000. Okay, so only 3 rows are there, and you can see the salary is greater than 50,000 in each case. Okay, copy this again because it's going to the same again. Uh, I will just copy paste it here and less than 50K and less than, this is less than. Okay, now let's run it. Look, only this guy has the salary less than 50K per month. Fine. Let's start with now greater than or equal to. Again, I will just copy this same thing, and instead of greater than close to this, instead of 50,000, I'm going to give here 60,000. Let's see. No, it's returning this, right? Look, let me take it as 70 now. Look, either 70 or greater than 70, right? So 65 will give me some rows. Look, either 65 or greater than 65. Got it? Similarly, copy this and paste it here. Sixth, less than or equals to 65,000. Control enter. Look, 65, 60, 50, 45. Correct? Sorted. Look. So this is how you use the operators. Fine. So here I gave you all the examples of the operators, how they're used, and they're pretty easy, right? Now I want to go on more on this comparison operators. Okay, so I will just start with here. So let's continue with more on comparison operator. Okay, now what if I have to, let's first let me query all the data. Select star from employees. So we have the join date there, right? Okay, fine. So what if I want to look at the name of the people, okay, and their join date from employees table where join date is greater than or equals to. Now look, I cannot write the join date directly like a number here, right? Since you can see it's kind of a string. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and I will click Control Enter. Look, so these are the people who joined after or at this particular date, 2023 01 10th. So it's 2023 01 10th and 2023 7 and 01, correct? And the vice versa will also go the same way. Now, this was using with dates, fine. Using with strings. Suppose if I do the same here, I will copy this and I'll paste here, where name equals to hers. I want to check when did hers join. Look, worked, right? Look, these are the basic things, right? Now let's go with more. Using with expressions. What does that mean is that suppose if I want to calculate a salary of a person, right? Select star, oh sorry, select the name of the person from employees table where salary into 12 is greater than suppose 6 lakhs, 6,000, 6,000, 6 lakhs. Okay, I want to check the person. Look, what I have done, I have directly calculated the expression here, right? Multiplication, addition, subtraction, division, everything you can do it here, and just I have given the condition here. Let's see. All these peoples are having the salary annually greater than 6 lakhs. Fine. This is called dynamic filtering. Let me type it out somewhere. Dynamic filtering. Okay. Now, this was all about comparison operators. Look, first and previously we learned about what is where clause, right? Now we learn about the comparison operators and we look at some of the examples also. Now we're gonna learn about other operators which I was talking about, and then we're gonna combine this slowly. Okay, like we learned where, so we used where with comparison. Now we're gonna learn new one thing. We're gonna add that with comparison plus where plus the new thing which you're gonna learn. Okay, coming back. Common mistakes. Okay, so usually people don't do mistake in these particular scenarios, but then also first is using single incorrectly. Where suppose where salary equals to 50. You're not assigning anything. You are not, wait, you are not assigning. Okay, it's not an assignment operator. Okay, then comes secondly, this is a common mistake people do. Wrong operator basically means where suppose salary is equal to or greater than 50,000. Error. This is wrong. You cannot do that way. Okay. Then not using string. Oh, sorry. Not using quotes. Basically, where name equals to hers. It will give an error. Okay. So these are the common mistakes. Actually, there are no common mistakes generally, but these are a few of the things which I can find out about. So this is all about comparison operators, and I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is logical operators. So after learning the where clause, we learned the comparison operators. Now we're going to learn about the logical operators and combine them all together. Fine. So let's move ahead with it. So first thing first, what are logical operators? What are logical operators? Okay. So these are used to combine multiple conditions in where clause. Okay. So if I write those, if I give the list of those, first comes the wait operator, then the meaning. So first operator is and. The meaning is all conditions must be true. Okay. Then comes the OR operator. At least one condition must be true. Okay, then comes the NOT operator. Reverse the AND OR conditions. Not and OR, but if you like, if you have seen previous chapters, if you use not in, okay, then if you use not with any other operators or commands, it becomes the reverse operator, right? But so I don't want to put here specifically and or, so I will just remove this and I will just write reverse condition. Okay, reverses the condition. And also it returns, like, if you remember in comparison operators, it used to return true or false, right? But in this particular scenario, it is not going to return true or false, it returns the result. It returns resultant data or rows. Fine. So and or and not, these are the three operators. So let's get back to our MySQL workbench and try to figure out the syntaxes. Okay, so logical operators syntax is like, suppose select star from table where, okay, column expression. Then comes the, suppose logical, sorry, comparison operator. Okay, then the logical operators. And rather than writing this, I will write and or not. Then again conditions. Got it? So this is how the syntax works. I know this seems a bit complicated here, but I will just write an example here. Select suppose star from employees table where I want to look at the salaries which are greater than 50,000 and department should be IT only. Look what I have done here. This is the first condition using the comparison operators, correct? Then this is the logical operator. Then this is the again comparison operator with the condition. Now for the AND operator, both of the condition has to be true. Okay, so let's see. Look, it failed. If suppose there is, if there was no IT, okay, I will write something fufu. I will just run. Everything is null here because we don't have any department as fufu, right? So make it as IT and it runs well. Now let's go with the, this was the AND operator, right? So AND. So let's go with the OR now. OR. The department is HR. Look, all the departments are not HR here, right? Some are IT, some are IT, finance, and salary is greater than 50,000. So, and even 45,000 is there. Look, when there is an OR operator, either this has to be true or this has to be true. Either one has to be true. Okay. So wherever the 50,000 case was true, so it returned 60,000 here, 70,000 here, 65,000 here, right? And wherever this got failed, basically in this 45,000, it checked the department and it was HR, so it returned this particular row. Got it? Now suppose in the same scenario, if I do more, add more zeros to it, and I make it HR1, something like this, and run it, nothing returns because both are false here. That's why. Okay, great. Let's look at the not operator. Select star from employees table where not not department equals to IT. So if I just write where department equals to IT, it will return only the departments having the IT, right? But as I have written not before the department, it will do the reverse thing. Look, these are HR and finance are only returned. But the same code can also be written as, if you remember, where department is not equal to or equals to IT. This also works only using the comparison operator. Okay, so these are the main important syntaxes for it. Now let's go and look for the more on logical operators. Suppose if I take a scenario that select star from employees table where department equals to IT or department equals to HR. So anything, please return anything, whichever is true, right? We have this clearance now. And salary is greater than 50,000. Now what will happen? Think of it. This is a tricky one. Close this. Tricky. Okay, we'll run it. What it is returning? It is returning department only having IT. Because if you remember, HR department salary. Let me run this first. Okay, HR. This is the one, right? Look, for the HR department, the salary is 45,000, right? Coming back here. Now it comes here and it checks. Okay, department is IT or HR. So if it takes, suppose if it goes serially from top to bottom, right? So it, okay, department ID true. We got the ID. Then it checks for the salary. Okay, salary is not true, right? So it will return false, so it won't get returned. Okay, so it goes this way. Um, the working is this. If I run this also, it will give me a different output. Putting bracket definitely gives me a different output. What it does here, it was returning me 50,000, 70,000, and 60,000. But as soon as I did the bracket part, this 50,000 was removed. Okay, look, because it's not considering this as a case now, it's just going with this particular thing and it's checking whether their salary is greater than 50,000 or not. Okay, something like it. So it's tricky. So don't use brackets because it gives a different kind of an output. So follow this particular rules. Okay, so I hope this is making sense to you now. Now here, the precedence also matters. Operator precedence matters. Look here, the result was this, right? Suppose if I copy this, paste it here, and I say the department has to be IT. I will cut this from here, and rather than and, I'm going to say or, and then this I will paste it here. This is something different. Now, what is going to happen? Let's see. It's returning only IT, right? Because this does not make sense because IT has been done. The precedence came before, right? If you're not having the clarity, if I just delete now look. This is the first option to consider, and this is the second option to be considered. Okay. So here it checked, okay, department ID. So it directly returned department ID. It did not check for the second one. Got it? Again, it checked for ID. It did not check for the second one. Rather, if I just do it this way, if I just cut it, paste it. Now look. Which HR, sorry, we don't have any HR department with salary greater than this, right? So what I'm going to do, 45,000 only, 40,000. Look, now precedence matters. It is returning me this, right? And then for all the other cases, this were false. So it came to this particular or condition so that we can get the other conditions fulfilled. Got it? So second scenario. So I hope you understood this precedence also. So before I was trying to give you an example using the parenthesis, right? So you should use parenthesis only when you are sure about the conditions you have put it. Okay. So as you can see, I have combined it with comparison operator with the where clause because these are used as where clause only and the logical operators, right? We have combined everything all together. So this way you can go on working on different of the comparison operator greater than or equal to greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, not equal to, all of these operators you can use and then use with the logical operators and practice more scenarios with that. Okay. Now coming back to the slides, the common mistakes. Okay, first one is ignoring the precedence. This the way just we saw, right? If you write the wrong precedence, it will give you a wrong output. Second, not using parenthesis when you are sure about the stuff. So there are not anything like using parentheses and the precedence case. You can just consider this one. Okay, these two scenarios. Fine. So another one is there. Uh, Third one, using not incorrectly. Okay. So this is all about logical operators, and I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is between, in, like, is, null. Actually, these are basically all the spatial operators. So we are going to study about the spatial operators in SQL, which makes our work easier while we are writing conditional statements using where clause. Okay, so let's start. So I'm going to just write a point here. These are spatial operators. Okay, that's it. Now, what it helps in basically is that we cannot learn those by going into the practical rather than going to the theory, which again I have to show it in the practical work. So going to the practical makes much more sense here. So we're going to start with this spatial operators. Okay, and those are between, like, okay, between, like, then comes what, in, is, null. Fine. So before moving ahead, I want to tell you in a brief that suppose when I am writing where uh, salary is greater than equals to suppose 50,000, and again salary is less than or equals to 70,000. Suppose this filter I want to give, rather than using this particular filter, what I can do is that where salary uh, between 50,000 and suppose 70,000. So here what we did, we just replaced that longer way of writing the stuff in a shorter one. Got it? So this was the demo I wanted to give you. So let's start with between first. Okay, between syntax. So syntax is very easy. Select star from table where, okay, column between value 1 and value 2. It cannot go with or, as we saw that greater than this and less than this, so you cannot put that condition in an or condition, right? So it always go with the and one. And let's take an example here. The same example, I will just take the same example. Select star from employees table where salary is between 50,000 and 70,000. Okay, look, it worked. So since and also it is inclusive because it is greater than and equals to, right? So let me just take something well so we can get a differentiate with value. Okay, so this is what we are getting it, and it includes both, right? Let me write it explicitly here. Includes both the values. Okay, okay, now if I take this example and if I just paste it here and I just say here not between, what happens? Look, I'm getting all the salaries which are not within this particular range, right? So reverses. So this is example of the not logical operator which we studied, that wherever we use this not, it becomes the reverse, right? Reverse is the condition. Great. Now let's go with between syntax. Okay. Now let's look for the in operator. In operator. Operator. Okay. So what I'm going to do here, just copy this, paste here. Actually, I should copy this completely. Where department in IT, comma HR. Okay. Look, only IT and HR are given here. So very easy syntax, right? But so let me write this down here. Where column name in bracket, comma separated values. Okay. And this is basically the replacement of what? Can you think of that? It is a replacement of department equals to IT or department equals to HR. We will get the same result. Look, okay, so I will just above query is the replacement of the below one. Got it? Again, if I do the same thing here, if I just copy this, right, and if I just paste it here and department, and if I say not in, what is going to happen? We're only getting the finance department here, right? So reverses the condition and it works with numbers, dates, and everything. Fine. So you don't have to worry about that particular thing now. So till now, what we covered? So till now we covered between and in, correct? Now let's try to cover is null. Is null operator. Operator. Okay. So again, I'm going to paste this here and I'm going to remove this. Okay, my bad. Let me copy this again. Paste it here. Where column name is null. Fine. Is null means what? Null means that that's not, it is not empty. Okay. It is not zero. Null means the value is not present there. Okay. Something you can have to get it that way. So where suppose if I come here and if I say salary is null, I'm not going to get any output because everyone has, because every column row has the salary, right? But as soon as I do this is not null, I'm going to get the all rows because all of them has the salary now, right? And look, not is null does not make sense, right? So since previously also we come to know about that SQL query is a way as English language to talk to a database, right? So if I just write this way, not is null, will it work? It is not going to work because grammatically it is not correct, right? But as soon as I write this way, it is grammatically also correct, where salary is not null, correct? So that makes it easier to understand and learn. Got it? Great. Now this three operators are done, right? Between in and is null. Now we are going to start with like operator. Like operator, and this for me it's kind of an important one because we'll come to know why. Okay, and also has a various cases here. Now before starting with the like operator, I want to come back to the slides and we'll put here some this kind of a heading here, like operator. Fine. So it goes like symbols, right? First some symbols are present there, symbol and their meaning. Symbol is percentage sign and an underscore. Okay, so it means any, let me change the color of the pen. This means any number of character, okay, 0 or more. And this means exactly one character. Okay, so whenever you see percentage means any number of characters like A B C D E F G, anything, hundreds, thousands, whatever, and one underscore means one character only. Let me highlight this. So this is a underscore. Okay, now let's move ahead and try to understand more things here in like operator. So like operator is mostly used for pattern matching. Okay, how pattern matching? Suppose if I want to look for my name, suppose I want to look for hers, and I don't know the spelling. Suppose I don't know the spelling of hers, okay, or any complex word. So what I can do is that I can just go in the database and I can write a query that I know it starts with H and it has A at least, and I can write this. So what this gonna do? This percentage sign, it's going to the database. Okay, look for all words starting with H A. Okay, this is what it is going to do. Okay, and similarly wherever we put the placement of this particular percentage size, suppose in the middle, suppose between H and A, if I put this means that multiple words between that, if the beginning multiple words. Okay, and suppose if I don't know the first character, okay, of the hers, so I will do just like this, and I know everything. So what it is going to do, look in DB and search for all words ending with ers plus total length 5 and first character missing. Meaning it will go into the DB and it will search for all the words having uh, length 5 and ends with ARSH. And first character missing means since here one character is missing, right? So what it is going to do when it finds all the values with 5 length 5 and ending with ARSH, it is going to return those things. Okay, so let me remove the last one. It does not make any sense. So let me remove this. Okay, so I hope you got the idea here. So let's get back to our database, sorry, MySQL. And let's try with something. Okay, suppose select star from employees where name, okay, before that let me give you the syntax also, where name, or I would like to say column name like, then uh, patterns I would say within inverted comma patterns. Okay, so patterns would be like percentage or underscore. Okay, so here in the example where name, like I know it starts with H, okay, but I don't know how it ends. Okay, look, it is going to return me only hers here. Great. Now it could be Hema or anything, right? Hema, hers, hero, uh, any word. I'm not able to recall value names right now, but yeah. Suppose if I want starts with, okay, starts with. Suppose it's say similar. If I take the similar case and I paste it here, if I say it ends with H, okay, ends and it is not case insensitive, so don't worry about that. Okay, because the h at the end of the hearse is small, but I wrote here caps, right? So it does not matter. But so suppose let me insert one more value here. Insert into employees values. Suppose name, right? Ramesh. Then let it be finance department. Finance 40,000, whatever. And current date. Okay, it did not work. Column count does not match. I missed something, I guess. Employee ID, name, department, salary, join date. Okay. So I forgot about the employee ID. So 6 makes sense. Okay, it worked, right? Now if I run the second command again, look, Ramesh is also there, Hers is also there. But if I run the first command, only Hers will be present here. So I hope you're getting this point now, correct? Now let's go and understand this single character pattern. Okay, suppose select star from employees where name like underscore, it has one character. Sorry, a. Let me first write it down. Okay. So what it says that it in the starting it has only one character, then it has a just after that, and after a it has anything. It could have anything, right? Look, I'm getting Harsh, Karan, Ramesh. Why? At least first character should be there, which is H, R, and K in this case. Then A has to be there just after the first character, and anything could be there afterwards. So in the similar way, if I give another this underscore here, it will not return it will return me a different output. Why? Because wait, I did some mistake here. Just a second. I was trying to show you something else. So if I just give an underscore here and if I run it, it's giving me null, right? Because we don't have anything before A which have two characters. Suppose B T then A or P Q then A, right? That's why it's not giving me anything. Fine. And suppose if I go like this, select, let me copy this. I don't have to write it again and again. So exactly one character before. Okay. And here we're gonna see H underscore, close it. It means exactly one character after, means starting will be H only, right? But after that only one character should be there. Is it possible in our scenario? Let's see. It's not, right? Because we don't have anything of two characters like HA, HB, HC, HD, whatever, etc. Okay, so that's why it's written nothing. Let's take this unique scenario here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, why? I hope you can figure this out now. Why it's returning Hers and Karan? Because I'm asking for a word which has exactly 5 characters. Got it? So there could be multiple patterns in like command or the special operator like operator. So I'm trying to give you the most used and most common ones so that you can have the idea and you can practice this. So before going ahead, I think you got the idea, right? What percentage does, what underscore does, and what if I just use percentage here? So suppose if I just use a percentage here, I want you to guess, okay, what's going to happen. Please pause the video and try to think. What will happen? It will return everything because percentage means everything, every single thing. Okay. Since I'm taking the example of name here, it could be date, it could be anything, it could be anything, right? So don't worry about that. Don't stress about that. Everything. Now let's go and take more examples. Some combination examples. Okay. H starts with H, has something in between, ends, and that's it. So it will be starts. starts with H, ends with H. Okay. Look, I will get hers at the end. I know that, but yeah. So there could be like multiple scenarios this way only. And what if, suppose if it is like percentage sh. Okay, let's see what happens. We're getting Ramesh and hers because ends with sh only. That's it. So these are the things you could do, and some more complex examples could be like, if you take the same queries, right? If I just take the same queries, okay, and not using not, paste it here, will do nothing. Okay, and I will just put here not, copy this, paste, paste. It's showing red. Okay, all right. Not like, sorry, not like. Okay, so what I'm going to get for the last one, sh, everything which does not ends with h. Okay, so I have to write it again. Does not ends with sh only. Uh, does not. Let's see what happens for the h and h. Look, so let me just copy this. Does not everything. And what is this 76? Like this line, right? This one. So it's returning empty, right? So I know. So remove. Excuse the grammar here. Just I'm writing does not. Okay, because it's a opposite one. Great. Now suppose. Okay. So what else? Even if you have email addresses, so you can just give percentage ampersand whatever, then at the rate, then ampersand, if you don't know the email, right? If you know it starts ends with gmail.com, so this way you can have multiple things, right? Phone number 9 ampersand, or whatever it starts with 8812 9, then you have the ampersand, everything you can just give it there, right? Now, very important. Okay, very important case. Suppose your data has ampersand or underscore in it, in the value itself, then how you gonna do it, right? It's going to be where name, like, suppose it starts with a capital A, has an underscore, and has a number ampersand or percentage sign, escape. Okay, so you can follow this. Got it? Since I have taken both of the examples here, that's why I have given there. If it is singular, just write ampersand. If it is there, that, then do that. So this is very important one. I want you to know about this. So we give some stars here. Very important. Okay. So I tried giving you few of the examples, and you can just explore by your own for this. Like, it will be much more interesting thing. Use, you please try to use numbers, email accounts, order ID, etc., and enjoy the scenario of using like operator. Got it? And please keep this in mind. Again, I am repeating this. How to escape when you have these particular things in there. Okay. Now, common mistakes. What could be the common mistakes? Um, Missing wildcards. Now you might be wondering, what are these wildcards? So, uh, where should I add this point? Let me try to add it here. I know it's becoming a little bit hodgepodge here, but try to change the color of the pen, green. This percentage and this underscore called wild cards. Sorry for these notes here. It has become a bit of clutter here, but percentage and this underscore are called wildcards. I just totally forgot about that. Okay. Missing wildcards, meaning while name like you just wrote this and you forgot. Got it? So this could be one of the mistakes you could do. Then wrong assumptions could be there. Okay, like wrong assumptions. Suppose like you gave here like and h you just wrote it this way, right? So it is only checks ending not contains h. Okay, so assumptions could be wrong. And case sensitivity confusion. Okay, case, as I said, case sensitivity depends completely again on the DB admin, what are the setups are done on the particular thing, whether it is CI or C CC. Okay, case sensitive or case insensitive. So that makes a big difference. In MySQL, mostly case insensitive, but in PostgreSQL, in default scenarios, it is case sensitive some of the times, but depends on the DB. Case sensitive confusion depends on the DB. Okay, so these are the few mistakes people do, and there is nothing more on that. So this is all about the spatial operators between is null, like, and in. And I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is sorting data with order by. So in this particular chapter or topic, we are going to understand how an order by works. And below also you can see an image. The line has been structured in an order way, right? They're sorted in the order way. So let's go in depth into the chapter and let's try to understand what is order by. So let's begin. Order by. It is a clause. Okay. You can call it as a command, but it is order by clause, like a where clause, select clause. We call them as clause also, right? So this is done now, and it is used to sort sort data in a ascending manner or descending manner. Okay, ascending or descending. So this is it. This is all about order by, and let's go into our MySQL workbench and try to understand the syntax. Okay, order by syntax. Fine. And before that, let me just run this command. Use company db. Okay. Now let's begin with the syntax here. Syntax starts like select, suppose column 1, column 2, and so on. Fine. From table name, and suppose if there is a where condition optional, okay, then we can just write it as order by and column name. Okay, so let's start. Suppose select name and salary column from, let me just reduce this. Okay, from employees table and order by salary. Fine, you understood the syntax, right? It's pretty simple. Control enter. Look, by default the salary is starting from the minimum to maximum, so it's a descending one, right? So we'll write here by default it is ascending order. Fine. So here also by default ascending order. Fine. And if you want, you can just write it as explicitly here. If I just give it right, ASC for ascending and DESC for descending. Fine. For descending, you have to mention it here. Suppose if I just copy this whole and paste it here and write it here as descending, and here if I write DCS and reduce the space. Now we can see it's starting from 70,000 and going up to 40,000. Before moving ahead, suppose select star from employees. Suppose we have IT department and everything, right? Okay, just take this case once here. uh, okay, this is done, right? Suppose I want to see the name and the department name. Fine. And I want it to be sorted by salary. Will this work? Let's see. It worked, right? We have sorted by salary. We have not this. So why I did this, I wanted to let you know that it is not mandatory that whatever column names you are writing here has to be the same here, right? It could be a different one. So does not need to be the columns you selected. Okay, so this was a basic syntax or the core syntax of order by. Okay, now in this you wrote descending explicitly, right? So here if you want, I will just copy this and I will comment this part, and you can explicitly you can just write here ASC for saying that it's an ascending order. Fine. So this was the core syntax. Now let's move here and let's go with more on order by. Okay, more on order by clause. Suppose I want multiple columns here. Let's take multiple columns. Suppose column 1 name, salary and department. Fine. From employees table, where not where, order by. If you want to order by multiple columns, then how are you going to do it, right? Suppose order by department. So let me write the heading here. Sorting by multiple columns. Fine. So department. I want a department to be in ascending order. I have explicitly written here it's not mandatory. Whereas I want salary to be in the descending order. Fine. So before clicking on Control Enter to check the output, I want to let you know that first the sort by department will happen. Okay. So let me write here execution order. First sort by department will happen. After that, okay, inside each department sort by salary will happen. Meaning first department will be sorted in ascending order. Okay, now inside each department the salary will be in descending order. Let's try running this first. Look, first what they did, they sorted by department. Okay, and then they sorted based on the salaries of each department. So if I just remove this, okay, look, finance comes the first, then HR, because it's an ascending order, right? Before HF comes, H comes before I, right? So this is the order. Everyone knows that lexicographical order, right? Now salary has been added. Okay, now let's see what happens in descending order. So in this finance, you can see 65,000, then 40,000, 45,000, then 70 to 60 to 50. Got it. And if I just remove this again and let's see here in the IT one, it's 60, 70, 50. It's mix, right? The result is mix. But as soon as I just give here salary in descending order, look, it's 70, 60, 50. So this is the way multiple ordering is done. So the structure should be always the left hand side will be done, then this after then the adjacent one, then the adjacent one. If there are multiple, right? So if there are multiple columns here again and again, so it will go on from left to right accordingly. Got it? Now let's try to understand another one. Order by with column position. Okay, column position means, let me tell you what's the, let me give you the query, then you will understand. Suppose select name and salary is there, right? And from employees, and I want to order by the second column in descending manner. Basically, instead of 2, I could have written here salary, and I would have gotten the same answer. So when I write order by 2, 3, it means the number of columns has to be present here. Because suppose if I just remove this, okay, if I run, it will throw an error that unknown column 2 in order clause. Got it? So both of the columns or third or whatever columns you have, it has to be present there. Suppose if I give department here, then also it will work because there are total 3 columns present here. Got it? So this is the way you can do, and this way I never usually use this because it's an unclear way of using the order by clause. But in some queries, what happens is that you're not allowed to modify the logic and everything. So what you do, you just change the column here, column name here, right? So that's it, and it's definitely not recommended. I will just write here because it's confusing. As I said, it's confusing in real projects. Okay, when you're debugging and doing all those stuff, then you can just use it, but other than that, don't use it. But you should know about it. Order by with aliases. Okay, this is important. Suppose select name, salary. We are used to this now, right? This is an annual salary as annual salary from employees table, and order it by annual salary in the descending manner. What will happen? Till now we have seen that everything got an error, right? Because the execution order of the SQL didn't work here. Are we in the execution order of the SQL? Let's see. Okay, so my bad, it was a spelling error here. I will run again. Look, it worked. Why it worked? Let me remind or recall you the execution order of the SQL. First comes from, then comes where clause, then comes the select clause, then comes the order by clause. That's why after select statement has been run, then only order by runs. Okay, therefore the annual salary name column is present there. That is why it was able to sort it. Okay, so I hope this doubt is clear now. And also let me write here one more thing. It is not clear this way because order by runs after select. Okay, now let's look at sorting strings. How you gonna sort the strings, right? So select name from employees, order by name. That's it. You can see, right? It's following the lexicographical order or alphabetical order, I would say. Follows alphabetical order A to Z. Okay, or lexicographical order, you could say, right? Suppose if there are 2 A's, right? And here also you can see Ramesh and Ria. So if it was RA and RA, then it would have looked the third one if it is M or M, right? So this is how it works. So this is a simple understanding. Now if you go with the dates, suppose sorting dates. So here I will write it was join date, right? In descending manner. Okay, so it's let me write here joining date also. It is the meaning that give me the it is basically giving me what latest joining date, right? So this was the latest guy and this was the oldest guy. Okay, So it goes from latest to oldest. You have to understand these things while adding, right? Latest to oldest. Now, one more thing, handling null values. Now, this completely depends upon behavior. Behavior depends on DB. Some show null first, some show null last. Okay, so in our table we don't have any null values, right? Yeah, we don't have any null values. So let me add one. Insert into. So I will run this query, and it's saying column count doesn't match. Okay, because of the ID. I think so. Wait, Raj department salary joined it. So it's right. Okay. Okay. So issue was I forgot to add the ID here. Let me check how many rows are there. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we'll just write here 7, comma. Okay. So we have successfully entered this, and actually we have to add null value, right? So okay. Let me make it 8 now. Okay, so null has been added. So let's check how it works in our case. So when I try to do order by, I will run this query, and here um, Raj was null, right? So it's a random one, okay, because it's order by name. So if I just do order by, joining date was there, right? Let me run this. Look, it is coming in the end. In our case it's in the end, so that what I wrote here, some show first and some show at the last. So our one is last. I hope you got this point. Okay, coming back, this was all about the syntaxes and more on MySQL order by. Now let's go ahead and understand common mistakes. Okay, so first mistake is using order by before where clause. Okay, basically if I am doing such things, select star from table order by column where condition, so it's an issue. Okay, so you are not supposed to do that. Let me reduce the space here by doing this. Okay, second point, using wrong column position. Specifically in this case, if you remember, order by 5. If column does not exist, or uh, the the order you gave wrong, it should be 4th column but you gave the 5th column. Okay, expecting sorted storage order by only affects the output. Okay, not the stored data, because this pairs with the select statement, right? Because we're learning the select statements here, so everything related to the select query. So this all of these queries or clauses are on basis of displaying the output, not modifying the database. Okay, fourth is forgetting to write descending. So order by salary, so we'll give low to high instead of high to low. Okay, so these were some of the common mistakes which people do in the beginning. Okay, so this is all about sorting data with order by, and I hope you understood the topic. So guys, let's move to the next topic. Moving on to the next topic, which is limit and offset. Okay, so these are the two important clauses or commands in SQL which helps in reducing the number of rows which are returned. Okay, so let's try to understand how it works. And also this is the final chapter of this module, so let's begin with it. So let's try why limit, or what is limit. Okay, same thing. So it is used to restrict number of rows returned. Okay, so instead of showing the full table, it shows the number of rows which I want. Okay, so let's go back into our MySQL workbench and try to understand how it works. It's pretty simple and pretty easy. So let me write here limit syntax. Okay, it goes like select star from table name and then limit. Okay, and number of rows. Now don't worry about like where to use where and where to use order by. Limit is used at the end of the complete SQL query. Okay, suppose if you've written like select, just see it. Okay, select star suppose from table name. Okay, where condition order by column group by having condition column then limit. So at the end, this is the full query, full thing. We have not studied group by and having till now, but yeah. So if you write something, limit comes at the end. So don't worry about that. Okay, so this is the execution order of limit at the end. So let's start. Suppose select star from employees limit 3 rows. Look, I'm only getting 3 rows from the start to end. Okay, keep that also in mind. Starts from row 1 to nth row provided. Okay, got it. So that's it. That's all about limit. Okay, so we can just, what we can do, we can just look at more on limit. More on limit. So let's begin with limit with order by. Okay, it's very important. It goes like select name column, salary column from employees order by salary in descending manner, but I wanted to limit till 3 rows only. Okay, look, I'm getting only 3 rows. If I just remove this, what I'm going to get Neha, Raj, Ria, and everyone, right? Because in descending order. So let me do it again. Limit to 3. Okay. So you can call it as top 3 highest salary. Fine. So this was all about limit. Now coming back, let's try to understand offset. Let's try to let it here only. Why offset? Okay, helps, or no, not helps, used to skip starting rows. Okay, meaning if I want to skip the rows from start, so how the syntax goes is this way. Suppose there is select Okay, let me write this first. Offset syntax. Suppose select a star from table name, offset number of rows, skip. Okay, so let me just write here, select star from employees, offset, suppose 3. Now hold on, in MySQL this will throw the error because MySQL never allows using offset alone. Okay, it needs a limit with it. It will give error as MySQL needs limit paired with offset to work. This is the case in MySQL. Okay, but suppose if you are in different database workbench, okay, platform, there you might not get this particular issue. Okay, so in MySQL what you have to do is that select star from employees table, limit 1, and if you don't want to limit, let's see what we can do for that. Limit 1 and offset suppose 3. Okay, look what it is doing, it is skipping the first 3 rows and then it's showing only 1 row. If I just give here 0, now let's see, it will give 0 rows, right? And in total how many we were having? 8, right? So let me give here 6. Let's see what happens. Look, it's not possible to give 6 rows because if you skip 3 rows from the beginning, only 5 rows are left because in total we had 8 rows, right? That's why it's done this way. So what usually people do when they are going with this in MySQL, first of all, this offset is used very less. Okay, and even if it is used, what people do, they give a lot, they check the number of rows. Okay, first thing, and they just directly give the number total row number here. Okay, let me give here thing for MySQL. What usually people do here, checks total uh, total rows. Okay, so this helps. Suppose if there are 100 rows, right, and you want to skip 10 rows, and if you give 100 there, it will give you 90 rows only in return. Fine, it is not going for the 10 other 10 rows because you have already skipped those rows, right? Similarly here, if I have written 6 here, suppose I know there are 8 rows. If I give 8 also, it will return me 5 rows only. Okay, so this is how an offset works. Fine, and I can give you one more MySQL for MySQL 1 and another for MySQL second. Okay, another syntax. If I give you another syntax, it will go like select star from table name, limit, skip number of rows, comma, show next rows. Okay, so this is one way. Okay, I will just copy this and paste it here. Delete this also, and suppose limit, I want to skip 3 rows and show me 8 rows. Okay, show me the 8 rows. Let me check now what's the result. It's saying okay, it's employees. Run again. Look, it's giving me the same output, right? Because it's the same thing which I have written here. That skip the 3 rows and give me the total 8 rows, but 5 are written because 3 are skipped. Got it? An execution order I already gave you. Let me write it here. Uh, goes like from where select order by limit offset. Got it? So this is all about the syntaxes on offset and limit, and also the exceptional case of offset in MySQL. Coming back to our slides, now let's try to understand common mistakes. Okay. So mistake 1, using limit without order by. Coming back to the SQL, I want to show you one more thing here. Suppose if I just do select star, it's in limit section, right? So it's offset, this is more on limit, right? So I will give here limit without order by. Okay, suppose if I just do it, copy this, paste it here, I'm getting this, right? And if I just remove this order by, I'm getting this random values. No, it's not a wrong thing. It's returning the top 3 results, returning top 3 rows, right? But output is random and does not make sense and unpredictable. You don't know what's coming up, right? So it is suggested to combine with order by. Okay, so always you should combine limit with order by. Now coming back here, so using limit without order by is a mistake, common mistake people do. Then second one is wrong offset logic, meaning limit, okay, 5 rows, comma, then not comma, then you wrote offset as 1. It will be a wrong, because offset and limit, if you are combining both, it's using the pagination concept. Okay, so this will go for wrong for page 2. Got it? Because what will happen, suppose in a single page, if you want to show 5 results every time, so limit 5 and offset 0 makes sense. But again, if you go to the next page and you go and write limit 5, okay, 5 rows will be written, but offset 1, what will happen? It will return the data from the database by skipping the first row. But you want from the 6th row, right? So what you have to do, you have to write limit 5 offset 5 for the second page. For the third page, limit 5 offset 10. I hope this is making sense. So corrected is limit 5 offset 5. Third is missing syntax incorrectly, meaning suppose if you write limit offset 5 3, so it's wrong, right? So this kind, people get confused, that's why it comes in the common mistakes. Okay, so this was all about the common mistakes. Okay, so this is all about limit and offset, and I hope you understood the topic. So let's move ahead to the next topic. Thanks for watching this module, and check out the next video in the core playlist. Explore other related modules there as well. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe.